All right, folks, we are hanging out today at the Great Hall with Lisa MacIntosh. Lisa, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Lisa has a brand new book that is just being released. Music Makers, Portraits at the Great Hall. And we are actually doing this interview in the Great Hall. Let's talk about the inspiration behind this. How did this all start off for you?
This all began with, I think, a love for Parkdale to start with. My parents met in Parkdale. My dad drove the Queen Street car. My grandparents lived here. I always knew about this building, and 16 years ago, I had an office in this building, and I worked on the ground floor with at-risk youth in Parkdale. And then I had a lot of life changes, and I wandered away. And I came back in here to photograph a band about 4 years ago, and I fell in love with the building all over again. And I was in here one day, and I thought, I really need to do something in here. I just didn't know at that point what it was.
Yeah. It's a pretty incredible space, though,
It's a
isn't it?
beautiful space.
So this is home for you.
This is my home away from home.
Yeah.
I spent 2.5 years working on this book, being here at least once a week.
Yeah. And you have photographed some absolutely incredible people in here.
Thank you so much.
How was that process, asking everybody if they could, did they want to be involved, or how did that go for you?
Well, I live my life by that word, ask. It's tattooed right here. It's funny because I had a lot of people say to me, how did you get so-and-so? I just asked. And I think a lot of people are afraid to ask because they're afraid of getting no or no reply, or who are you? I don't know who you are. I don't want to be part of anything when I'm not even sure who you are. So it was a lot of work. Honestly, it was a lot of work. I had to kind of follow where people were, their schedules. And for the most part, there's 220 people I photographed for this series. And I basically went through individuals. I think out of everybody, there were maybe 5 managers involved. So I wanted to go directly to the people, the artists that I wanted to be in this book. And when I started, it wasn't going to be a book. It was going to be, I was going to come here and I was going to maybe photograph 20 people, and I was going to frame some really nice portraits and have a little art show.
Okay. Turned into something a little bit more than that, let's just say.
Yeah.
And we're so thankful that it did, though. What I've seen posted through this whole, I'm going to say journey for you.
It is a journey.
Because it really was.
Absolutely.
And I'm so glad that you were able to share it with everybody on Facebook, because it was really cool watching, the whole process happen. When you were putting this together, was there certain individuals that you really wanted to make sure you were involved?
I don't really think so. It just felt like the whole process was really organic.
Yeah.
It just kind of unfolded, and people that I knew other people, and they wanted to do the series, and I really wanted them to be in the series. So I just, honestly, from the very first person, I just kind of let it grow.
Okay.
I didn't want to have to hunt anybody down. If it didn't work out, that's okay. I mean, my dream would have been to have Gord Downey in this book.
Yeah.
And understandably, it didn't work out. But other than that, I just wanted good people in this book, in this project. And that was one of the best compliments I think I've gotten to date, was somebody said, not only, this was before the book, not only do you have great musicians in this series, you have really great people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the absolute best thing that I could ever hear.
Something that's been drawn to me, just because I've been engaging with the gentleman over the last, let's say, year, which Fred Penner, that's in the book. And, I've had the opportunity to interview Fred and have him do an acoustic session for us and stuff like that. And I was really happy to see that Fred was in here. But there's really a plethora of amazing individuals that are in your book. Was there one experience throughout the whole thing that really stood out, that was really hard, the lighting was difficult, or?
I don't think I ever experienced that. This room is a gorgeous, beautiful, light-filmed room, but it can change on a dime. Like, it can just be sunny and all of a sudden a little cloud will go by and it's dark in here.
We're probably going to go through that in this interview.
I think it's already changed now. So I don't really think that I had an experience like that. The cover of the book was the latest I ever shot in here.
Okay.
And that gold mirror was actually on the floor, and Sarah Hamilton, who is on the cover, came in, and I think we shot at 4:30 in the afternoon. And that was the absolute latest I was ever in here. I was shooting usually between 11 and 2, so totally different light. And when she came in here and that mirror was on the ground, the whole floor was gold. There was this beautiful golden shimmer across the floor, and I was like, wow.
Really cool.
I knew she was looking at herself in the mirror, checking to see how she looked. And I was standing there and I saw that, and I was just click, click.
Yeah.
But I do have one, like when you mentioned that, I have that one moment. They were all, I appreciate every single person that is in this book and every single session that I had. They were all very different. Sometimes I came in here and there was no glass in any windows or scaffolding everywhere. And I was kind of stuck to shooting in one spot because the whole room was full during a 2-year renovation here. But when I photographed John Mann from Spirit of the West, that was, I could cry when I think about that. I love that session so much, and I love John and his wife Jill so much. Having announced that he had early onset Alzheimer's, that he agreed to do this was just, I couldn't have asked for, he was my 100th participant in this series too. And from that, after that, I knew that it was larger than I ever dreamt, and that I needed to do something else with it. But we had the most incredible and heartfelt time together, and it ended with the 3 of us standing in the middle of the room crying and just holding on to each other. It was so powerful. And
is that something that maybe, how long have you been a photographer for now, would you say?
I want to say that I've always been a photographer.
Okay. Yeah.
And to actually professionally be a photographer and that this is my business has been not quite 4 years.
Okay, but you've all, like you said, in your mind, it's always, has there ever been that one time that you've captured something or that you didn't need words, like that moment that, you know, maybe happened, would you say? I
actually had one incident in this series as well. I was photographing Larry Gowan from Styx, and we were downstairs in a different room with a different piano, and we came in and did his session, and it was fun, and I love him, and he's wonderful. And he said, so who's next? Do you have somebody else today? And Fred Penner was next. And I said, Fred Penner's today. And he said, I want to wait. I need to see Fred. And I said, it's in 3 hours. He said, I don't care. I want to wait. So we sat and we talked and we shot some more. And Fred came in and they greeted each other, gave each other a hug, and they sat down at that old rickety piano that's downstairs, side by side on the stool, and I sat on the floor and I put my camera down. Because I thought, my thing that I always would say was, who gets to do this on a Tuesday afternoon? Nobody. Yeah. I didn't want to take a photo of it. Yeah. I wanted to sit down, and I sat, and they played honky tonk on that piano, and I just sat there and I watched, and I thought, I'll remember this forever.
Totally.
I don't need to have a photo of it. Yeah. And I don't want to share that.
Yeah, that was your memory.
That was my, and luckily I've got a few of those throughout this series.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank
Congratulations
you for
on this book. It is absolutely incredible. Where can they grab this if they want to purchase
all of the information for the book, and also to purchase concert tickets, because we are having a big concert book launch here October 14th at the Great Hall. And you can find out any information you need at portraits@thegreathall.com.
Perfect. Portraits at the Hall.
Greathall.com.
Head over there, grab the book. Make sure you come down for the book release. It's going to be an incredible event. And again, thanks so much for doing this.
Thank you, Corey.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.
Bye.